For more on what's happening in Aden, I'm joined by Baraa Shiban, a human rights activist and former member of the Yemen National Dialogue. Thanks so much for joining us. What do you expect to come of these protests? Is succession a possibility, and would that be good for Yemen?
Since yesterday, the president did come out and he announced rejecting the calls for secession. He rejected the formation of the Southern Council, and we're expecting also the Gulf countries to come out in support of President Hadi, as they did last time after the rally and the call for the Southern Council. I think the timing is what is interesting, because for the Gulf countries, last time they considered that the timing is beneficial for the Saleh and the Houthi alliance and does not work in the favor of the Gulf countries nor of their ally, President Hadi. President Hadi still insists on forming the federal system, where the Southern movement is part of the Yemeni government, not an independent or have some form of autonomy on the south. It is, of course, a very tense situation. We don't know how this will going to lead to further either a secession or a referendum in the future. But what is certain is that under the current circumstances, a referendum is still not possible.
Let me ask you then what you made of U.S. President Trump actually signing those massive arms deals with Saudi Arabia over the weekend. Do you fear that could prolong this war as well as civilian suffering in Yemen?
I assume the topic of Yemen was on the top of the agenda when President Trump was in Saudi. For Saudi Arabia, Yemen is a priority, and I assume they did discuss it with President Trump. President Trump yet slightly mentioned the Houthis in Yemen, but he is supportive of the coalition, and the coalition main aim is to restore President Hadi into the country. So definitely, I think the conflict is still ongoing, and with the arms trade, it means showing very much support of the U.S. administration to the Saudi government, and of course to the Yemeni president. I think we're looking into a situation where it's going to be a stalemate. No one, I think, is clearly being able, at least in the short period, to make a total victory.
And tell us, in the meantime, just how much of a struggle daily life has become for Yemenis.
I think the most important struggle is the dire humanitarian situation. Many people haven't been receiving their salaries for more than some of them 8 months now. And for many Yemenis, this is their main source of income. So they don't have actually just income to feed their family. And I think this is the most frightening situation. There are, of course, now an increased number of patients who were affected by cholera. So we are actually expecting a further deterioration in the humanitarian situation. The most aspect, I think, is endangering the Yemeni community today, more than the conflict, is the humanitarian situation and the fact that many people are struggling to just to stay alive.
Okay. We're going to have to leave it there for now. I'd like to thank you so much for joining us from London.